It was an elegant street, Fawcett Street. If there was anything special going on, everyone used to make for Fawcett Street and stand in doorways to look at the town hall, because if there's anything special, they came out to speechify, to the crowds. and I remember standing in a doorway to watch the first motor car come round the gas office corner, and the gentleman's club was on that side. And this motor car came round like this, and everyone was going mad with delight. There were no horses, and that was the first motor car.
I remember the doctor, he used to have a car with all brass ornaments, I called it, but it was the car in those days, a beautiful car. It was a strange sight to see a car going in those days. But the only doctor I knew had a car. Even the fire engine in those days was horse-drawn.
Then came the first electric tram. Even in those days, women were beginning to fight for equality.
Some of the men objected and they said, well, if they were going to have lady conductors, they could do the same work as the men did. They had long bamboo rods and it went along the car like that. And when they got to the Havelock, they had to turn round to go back. And so the conductor had to run along the side and pick this bamboo rod up. And it was like, got on both hands, and it was a thickish handle, but it tapered off like a whip. And you picked it up and run round, and you had to do that to get it on the wire. I jumped out quick, and the driver was an elderly man, and he said to me, it's all right, don't you bother about the bamboo rod. But I was out quick, and I got this bamboo rod, and I flew round, and I did that, and it went straight on the wire, sparks.
Jacky White was one of the first people to actually have a car privately owned, and it was a big Buick. Jacky White was my mother's uncle. He started off originally by hiring out hand carts and supplying the fruit and vegetables for the people to take round the colliery areas. Eventually he had shops, one near the Palace, Old Palace Theatre, and he used to have one down High Street, and then the big market. There was butchers, there was a medicine stall called McCall's, there was a cafe, Mrs. Wallace Cafe, there was a button stall at the back of the market. There was a sweet stall in which all sweets were a penny a quarter.
Well, people don't believe me when I tell them that right up to the war, there was a horse cab rank in St Thomas Street or Athenaeum Street. They weren't hansom cabs because I remember the men, I remember the face of the man, big round face of this chap, wearing a top hat, sitting out in front, like Tony Weller in Pickwick Papers. And I remember the detail. I remember that the rim of his top hat was worn, and you could see the cardboard, the yellow cardboard through his top hat. And Fawcett Street, in those days, of course, transport has changed enormously, but Fawcett Street was paved was timber. It was paved with wooden blocks. We used to call them tarry blocks. And when they had the road up, all the lads used to go out with the barrows to collect tarry blocks for the fire at home.
The street where I lived was very wide and quite a nice street. There was gardens, but we had gates and fences. And there was a milkman, but we had to go out with a jug. We could get a penneth, or a gill as we called it. And there was a young lad who used to come with the milk, and I got a crush on him. He's about 16. And I used to ask my mother, can I get a penneth of milk for the cat? And he never had a crush on me. It was me who had a crush on him. And there was the grinder that used to come and do our scissors. It was about twopence to get your scissors done. And he came round regularly. And then there was the fish woman. She used to carry it on her head. Marvellous woman. She was about 6 foot. She used to walk along with her hands behind her back and erect. and this big basket full of all sorts of fish. And she would say, "Whip, whip." My mother would know, and the cats would the cats would be fleeing, and they knew her voice long before she got there.
And when the coal man was coming, they used to shout, "Close!" And then my mother used to have to put the props up high to let the coal go past. Used to light the fire and the boiler, fill it with water, and shovel the coal in there, and then boil the things in there, and then with a big stick put them into the tub, and we had to pot them. And I had to take turns, but I used to sing all the time and pot.
Well, I was born in 1910, so I was only 4 when it started. But I can remember my father going away. I think my mother went to the station, and we saw that. What I remember is marching through the streets. They were obviously going to the station then with their kit bag.
I remember my dad taking me on with an air radio in the town, and he showed me a Zeppelin coming in the sky, you know. We saw it was like a silver sausage in the sky. That's all it was, and it had been bombing over Monk Wearmouth somewhere. They got it, they brought it down.
Another thing about the First War, I can remember the dark. And I can remember the men painting the lamps blue, dark blue, and they left one little tiny bit in the middle. And we used to have what we call Alf's button. We used to wear this little thing in our lapels. All of us, I thought I was great when I got one. They were about twopence, and they were luminous. And of course, I naturally probably never went out in the dark, but my mother, knowing me, she probably bought us all one. And of course, you could go out and it would just show like a little instead of like a torch. I can remember it vividly, and I can remember we had a man come round our back. We lived downstairs in the back. We called him the air raid man, and he would knock on the window and shout, "Get them lights out there!"
I remember going away to France, a 7 DLI. I was only a schoolboy, and I was working for Smith's in the station before I went to school. I used to get the mail in the morning off the train from Manchester, and I used to bring it upstairs and they used to sort them out. And I remember quite well this train had 2 engines on, and all the troops were packed into these coaches, and they went away to France. And I was selling the papers then, you know, and I remember them all shouting at me for cigarettes, and because I have cigarettes on a basket I carried, and papers and that. And out of that lot, very few came back. I know that, because the town was in mourning more or less for the 7th DLI got beat up. You could set your clocks with the shipyards in those days. 7:30 in the morning, prompt, all the hooters would go on the buzzers. The men would be at work, start 7:30. 12 o'clock dinner hour, the buzzers went. 1 o'clock start work. 5 o'clock finish for the day. And you could set your clock on them times. And all you could hear was clippity-clop as they're going down the street to work.
You heard the tugboats at night. They had a double chime. If it was a very still night, you might hear or imagine you heard the sort of churning, rhythmic churning of the paddles. You could hear the foghorns at the pier. You could hear the big grunter growling down at Marsden. You could hear the steam trains. But you also heard the clank, 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 clank of the shunting. You heard the rackety old trams. These great, ungainly galleons. The last tram was an event. The last tram after the pubs closed was an event. Everybody seemed to know everybody. It was a kind of party. And everybody below a certain age always sat upstairs amongst the smoke of woodbines. It was like a club. Somebody knew, you always knew somebody on the tram. There were jokes. If somebody said something funny, the whole tram laughed. There was a kind of warmth and cheerfulness about the rackety old trams.
Subscribe to our channel and we'll let you know when there's a new video to watch. The subscribe button is below the video next to the like, share and comment icons. To watch another video, just click on one of the pictures above the arrows now.